Welcome back to Ted's Fish Room. In this fourth installment on packaging and shipping fish, we're going to talk about breather bags. Like any piece of technology in the aquarium hobby, breather bags have their uses, they have their strengths, and they have their weaknesses. For shipping fish through the mail, I am not a big fan of using breather bags. I have traveled to Africa on a couple occasions. I've been gone for multiple weeks at a time, collected fish, and if it were not for breather bags, I would not have been able to bring back as many fish alive as I did. I believe that breather bags have revolutionized collecting fish in the wild and getting them back to the hobby from traveling aquarists. But I think that their cost, because they are expensive, is too high for worrying about using a breather bag to ship something overnight. What they're really useful for is when you have to keep fish alive in a bag for many days at a time. So what is a breather bag? Well, a breather bag is produced by Kordon. It's a special polymer, a special type of plastic that has the ability to diffuse oxygen and carbon dioxide through the wall of the bag. If you go to the Kordon website, it has a lot of information about how to use breather bags correctly. And I can tell you from experience, a lot of people do not use breather bags correctly. When I started using them for shipping, which I don't do a whole lot of anymore, I was very careful to do what Kordon told me to do, and I really didn't have any problems. Whenever I travel overseas and I bring fish back, I use them the way Kordon told us to use them. I don't have any problems. But I hear people complain about breather bags. When I've asked them questions, I find out they weren't really using them right. So we're going to talk a little bit about using breather bags. First off, there are not very many different sizes of breather bags. There used to be more, but Kordon doesn't make them anymore. You'll notice that my breather bags, this one has got the Kordon label on it. This one has got some writing on it, but the others don't have anything at all. Because how I get my breather bags is I get this breather bag. This is a box liner bag. It is 16 inches by 14 inches by 30 inches. And if you clip off the bottom of this bag and unzip it and clip one side of it, you get this really big piece of plastic that's made in a breather bag. And that's when your heat sealer comes into use. Because I can use my heat sealer and I can make any size breather bag I want. A lot of extra work, but then again, I don't use these very often. The other thing that's nice about this size breather bag is it's a much thicker mill weight. It's not the real thin stuff. And in my experience, the thinner, smaller bags, they seep. A little bit of water leaks out of them. So for shipping purposes, you want to use the thicker stuff if you can get it. So the way to use a breather bag, you fill it up with water. Quite a bit of water. And whereas normally you would have air in the top of the bag, you want no air around inside the bag with the breather bag. With the exception of fish that require air off the surface. So bettas, gouramis, any anabanted, cory catfish, all these fish require a little bit of air in their breath, so you want to make sure you leave a little bit of air inside. But without, not those kind of fish, any other fish, close it off and see the water pour out of it. That's why I have a towel. I'm going to close it off around the water so it's a wet mess. Another reason I don't like messing with breather bags is it's messy. And now I'm going to use my rubber band and I'm going to tie it off just like I normally would. Nice and tight. There we go. I'm going to dry it off a little bit. And there we have this nice cell. And what's happening is oxygen is getting in, carbon dioxide is getting out, and you can have a little fish in there. Now, when you're shipping fry, very, very small fish that aren't going to fight inside the bag, you could probably put 10 half-inch fry inside a bag like this, not a problem. One of the dangers of breather bags, however, is that the fish have to be completely purged of food. If fish start pooping inside the bag because the oxygen flow in and out of the bag is much slower than oxygen between the air and the surface of the water, pH crashes are a lot faster inside of a breather bag, and ammonia buildup, ammonia burn is a lot faster inside of a breather bag. So do not put fish into a breather bag if they're going to be in the bag for more than, say, 24 hours if the fish have eaten, say, in the past 48 to 72 hours. So if you're going to ship with breather bags, plan ahead and make sure the fish are purged. The problem is that this is a lot of water for very little surface area, and the distance between the space in the water in the middle of that to the membrane outside is quite a long way, so it's not really efficient gas transfer. So what the heat sealer allows you to do is you put a fish inside of here. Let's put a fish in. These gouramis are getting a workout today. Now I can take my heat sealer and I can run it all the way up the bag, all the way up to where the water is right up next to the element, and then I can peg it with my heat sealer, let it cool, peel it off, make sure it doesn't leak. Make sure it doesn't leak. It doesn't leak. I can take my razor blade. Where'd my razor blade go? Here it is. Take my razor blade, trim off my excess breather bag, and now I've got a very flat breather bag with a fish in it.